welcome in to Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are talking about the stars of Jaguars training camp so far. We've had 10 days of Jaguars training camp practice. We've had a preseason game, if you want to call it that. There's been plenty of doom and gloom since that preseason game. Some overreactions to the Jaguars' loss to the Raiders on Thursday night. Jaguars were missing most of their starters, a few key backups in that one. It was not pretty in the first half for the Jaguars, especially on the defensive side of the ball, stopping the run, slowing down the screen game, and they'll need to improve their physicality and recognition up front, without question. But today we are going to talk about some positives coming out of camp. Who are the stars? What looks like it's working for this team? Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a show here. You can follow me on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, at Generation Jag. Couple quick notes before we get into the stars of camp. Christian Kirk and backup offensive tackle Badara Traore did sustain injuries today. It doesn't look like either is serious, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Both guys kind of got up and started looking like they were working through it, and they shouldn't be long injuries, but we do not know. We do not have any confirmation. I do not want to speculate too much on those. Another quick note out of practice today. The offense does continue to struggle a little bit getting the ball into the end zone in the red zone, which is something they'll need to continue to improve upon because, as we all know, scoring in the red zone is critical in the NFL. The good teams do it. The bad teams do not. But without further ado, let's get into the training camp and preseason stars to this point again after 10 days of 10 days of practice, 4 days of padded practice, and one preseason game, the Hall of Fame game last Thursday night. The biggest star for me so far is Travis Etienne. He did not play in the preseason game, but this is a player who, whether it has been unpadded, shells, fully padded, live or not, Travis Etienne has looked incredibly fast, incredibly quick, explosive with the ball in his hands. He's making plays every single training camp practice. He embraced the contact that came with going live on Monday. Kind of took a big pop from Andre Sisco, again, after he had already picked up a first down. Took another hit later on. He said he wanted to get out there. He wanted to have some contact. He wanted to get himself back into being comfortable with the contact and embracing it. And so those are two hits in a regular season game. He might step out of bounds, but it's been over a year since Travis Etienne has been tackled. And so on Monday when he got out there and it was live, you were going full go through the whistle. Travis Etienne embraced the contact. He wanted the contact, but every single training camp practice, he is out there and he's making people miss in the backfield, at the line of scrimmage, in space, and just picking up chunk yardage and looking really good in the receiving game, developing in pass protection. So I think Travis Etienne, he looks like he should be a breakout star for the Jaguars as a former first-round pick, one of the most productive running backs in ACC history. Incredibly explosive, dynamic football player that I think is going to really benefit the Jaguars offense, really help Trevor Lawrence out this year, and shine in this Doug Peterson system. Foye Oluokun, looking at the other side of the ball, Jaguars bring him in for $15 million per year. NFL's leading tackler, and you see why, especially over the last couple of days where it's been more contact. He is a tackling machine. 192 tackles last year. He might have had 192 tackles in the last 2 days of practice. Of course, I am being a little hyperbolic there. But he has been a tackling machine the last few days, and they haven't just been tackles down the field. He's been making plays around the line of scrimmage, making plays where he's tackling players short of first downs, short of the goal line, really making his presence felt. And that's what you want to see for the Jaguars, who have struggled at linebacker with consistency over the last several years, since Paul Posluszny and Telvin Smith left the team. Brandon Scherff, getting back on the offensive side of the ball, he came in, signed a huge deal. The right guard from from Washington, and he's a guy that's been an All-Pro, 5 Pro Bowls in 7 years in the NFL. You see it every time he's on the field. He moves better than everyone else for his size. He gets out in front of plays. And then in the one-on-ones, he dominates for the most part. I saw him put a defender on his ass with one arm today. Really impressive stuff from Brandon Scherff. The Jaguars have not had an offensive lineman like Brandon Scherff in a long, long time. And Brandon Linder is the closest they have had, but Scherff is on another level from what Brandon Linder was. Linder was pretty consistent, pretty reliable in terms of when he was on the field. Brandon Scherff elevates this offense more than I have seen any other offensive lineman in a long time. And speaking of offensive linemen, Cam Robinson, he has had his best camp I've seen him have. He's been with the Jaguars since 2017 when he was a rookie. He has improved every year since coming off of the ACL in 2018. And this is the best he's looked. He signed a big deal. He's more vocal as a leader. He's winning more one-on-ones. He's doing really well in team drills, 11 on 11. And he just looks like a guy who, from an experience standpoint, from an age standpoint, he should be going into his prime, and it really does appear that way for Cam Robinson so far. Getting into the defensive secondary, Andre Cisco, especially the last 2 days when it's been a little bit faster, a little bit more contact, he's been fantastic. Breaking up passes, had a pass breakup today. Several pass breakups today in one-on-ones, but then he got a PBU also on a Trevor Lawrence throw over the middle where he just got his hand in there, made a physical hit, and broke the play up. And he's also been really good in pursuit as a run defender. You saw that on Thursday night against the Raiders when he had to clean up some errors that were happening up front in the front seven. He did so with ease. He just looks like a guy that's coming into his own. He's going into his second season after the ACL that he suffered in his final year at Syracuse. He is fully healthy. He is moving quickly. He's going to be dynamic in coverage with his range, but also a really sound tackler for the Jaguars on the back end. And lining up next to him often, outside of him, is Tyson Campbell, the Jaguars' second-year corner who was picked with the 33rd overall pick in 2021. He has been excellent as well. He's been shut down on his side of the field. He did give up one completion today to Christian Kirk, but every time you're targeting Tyson Campbell's side of the field, it feels like it's going to be an incompletion, and it has been for the most part. He is long, he is physical, he has the speed to keep up with anyone on the field, and you've seen that, and now he's bringing the swagger and the confidence that you kind of saw over the back half of the 2021 season. Great to see from Tyson Campbell. Josh Allen, this should come as no surprise. He's been one of the stars of camp. I cannot remember a day where he has not gotten pressure or a sack in the team portion of drills. And then when you get into one-on-ones, he's been trading punches a little bit with Cam Robinson, with Walker Little, but I think he's been winning more often than not. He looks like a player, kind of similar to Cam Robinson, ready, to step in to the spotlight as a leader of this team and become the best version of himself this year. And he's not shied away from expectations. He wants to be the best defensive player in the NFL. Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen's running mate, on the opposite side. These two guys are tied at the hip throughout practice, and you love to see that for Trayvon Walker. Walker came in, his first preseason game, very first play, gets a big-time pressure where that offensive tackle just could not handle his speed to power. The bull rush got right into the offensive tackle, used his length to get to the quarterback and get his hands on the quarterback, and what really ended up being a fluky play because it was a completion down the field to Keelan Cole. Shout out to Keelan Cole, of course. But it was a fluky play in terms of being able to complete that pass. But Trayvon quickly showed his dominance there. He ended up getting his first sack a little bit later on in the game on the next drive, and is another play where he used his power and speed to get the offensive tackle off balance on the outside and then worked back across the face of the tackle, used his length, his explosiveness, his strength to get to the quarterback and bring him down. He's looked really good in practice, especially since the pads have come on, and he looked good in his first preseason game. You just want to continue to see the development of the pass rush skill set, and Trayvon Walker, the sky is the limit for this kid who has all the length, all the athleticism, everything you could ask for out of a first overall pick from a physical talent standpoint. Now it's just about honing that pass rush skill set, continuing to improve there for Trayvon Walker. Snoop Conner, another draft pick for the Jaguars, the 5th round running back out of Ole Miss. We've talked about him a lot. Continues to impress me, catching the ball out of the backfield, fielding kicks and punts, as a guy who they might turn to if they need to down the road if there's injuries to Jamal Agnew, because he's going to clearly be the starting kick returner and punt returner. Jamal Agnew is. But Snoop Conner, he's been good in every facet of the game. He's quicker than I thought. He's faster than I thought. And I think he looks like a player who, at the very least in this league, can carve out a role as a number 2 in a 1-2 punch at running back. I really do believe that. Christian Kirk, who did suffer the injury today, it looked like he's going to be okay after that. But again, don't want to speculate too much. It was a non-contact injury, but Kirk looks like he'll be okay. But getting to what he's done throughout camp, he's been one of Trevor Lawrence's most consistent targets. He has not been letting the ball hit the turf. If he's targeted, he's been getting open. He's so quick and savvy as a route runner. And as Trevor Lawrence mentioned after practice today, he really knows and processes quickly what the defense is presenting to him, whether it's man coverage, zone coverage, and after the processing happens, the reaction happens, and he's able to dictate his route, where he's going to go based on, is he seeing man coverage, is he seeing zone coverage? He knows his landmarks he needs to get to, and that's been a big benefit for Trevor Lawrence this camp. Walker Little, second-year left tackle, who came in as the 45th overall pick, second-round pick for the Jaguars last year. He has taken a lot of reps with the ones when Jawan Taylor has been out. Jawan Taylor did return to practice today, and Walker Little and Jawan continued to split reps. But I'm just so impressed with Walker Little's ability to compete with Trayvon Walker and compete with Josh Allen and the rest of those pass rushers in one-on-ones and 11-on-11s. And then he took that out to the game field on Thursday against the Raiders. He was incredibly consistent in pass protection, looked really good at the point of attack and the run blocking. Had a couple of framing issues when he worked his way down the field to the second level that he'll want to continue to clean up. But he looked really good, and the most important thing you can do as an offensive tackle is protect your quarterback. He's been doing that very well at right tackle. Luke Farrell, the final offensive weapon I wanted to talk about. He's a guy who really flashed in the preseason game against the Raiders. He caught 4 of 5 targets. He came in, and I think the Jaguars believed, this staff, when they came in, they kind of thought about him as maybe next in line behind Chris Manhertz to be the featured blocking tight end, the starting blocking tight end. Chris Manhertz is on the final year of his contract, so you talk about what are we doing for the future. It looks like Luke Farrell can step in, and he's done well in that role, but he has more juice to him as a receiver than Chris Manhertz does, than most blocking tight ends do in the NFL. So I think there's potential for him to be a versatile weapon for the Jaguars offense, not a dominant receiving threat at the position, but a competent receiving threat at the position who can just be balanced for you. And he can be a guy that the defense isn't going to know what he's doing and what you're doing based on his alignment, because he can do different things for you on the field. So look for him to continue to develop throughout this training camp and preseason and throughout the 2022 season, and see if he can be next in line as the blocking tight end in 2023. So then finally, we're going to round it out with your quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. He is 121 of 175 through training camp so far, through the team portions, which is 11-on-11 and 7-on-7. He has had 10 drops, which is a 5.7% drop rate. Not bad at all when you look at the drop rate, but there have been some drops. And then there have also been plenty of pass breakups from the likes of Tyson Campbell, Shaquille Griffin, and the like, Andre Cisco. So when you look at the pass breakups, just the defenders making good plays on the ball, you look at the drops, he's only had 2 turnover-worthy throws. Trevor Lawrence has been accurate all over the field, just spraying balls over the middle, short left, short right, intermediate, right, left, middle, deep, right, left, middle. He's been hitting the ball or hitting passes all over the field. The one area you want to see continue to improve is completing those passes for touchdowns in the red zone. But he's thrown plenty of touchdown passes so far. I think we've got him at 15 touchdown passes to just 2 interceptions. He looks like a guy ready to take a big leap in this Doug Peterson offense. And he carries himself the right way. He leads the right way. He's got a superior right arm. And he's shown off his wheels a few times as well. Had a nice run today in camp. So that is going to round out our training camp and preseason stars for the Jacksonville Jaguars through a little bit over 2 weeks of Jaguars training camp. That will do it today. Thanks for tuning in, Duval. I'm about to sign off and go get on the Relevant app at 12:30. We're going to be doing our up and down, 5 up, 5 down from the first preseason game and the last 2 padded practices over exclusively on the Relevant app. But you can hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo, follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube and check genjag.com for all the latest Jaguars news, analysis, and Duval gear.